What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. We talk about many times over and over that the Clippers definitely need to fill the point guard position. Now, this point guard here, I would say, definitely looking at this situation, if the Clippers, brung him on to the team, it definitely would be a win-win for them. And here's why. First of all, the point guard I'm talking about is for the Detroit Pistons. His name is Cory Joseph. Cory Joseph's been in the league about 10 years now. He's kind of been a journeyman around a little bit. And, he averages about 8 to 10 points a game with about 4 to 5 assists. And, when you think about that, that's not a lot of production. But when you think about the Clippers in its entirety as a whole, the team, they got so much depth in every single area. It's like they don't really need much out of whoever comes on because they're so loaded, they're so talented, and they got so much depth in regards to scoring and defense. They just need somebody to come in and fill a little bit, fill out the edges a little bit, fill out the weak spots that they have, which is very minimal. And one of the weak spots I think they have is the point guard position, only because Reggie Jackson is a better scorer than he is a distributor. Because Reggie Jackson can distribute the ball a little bit. He's not foreign to being a point guard because he's been one before. He's played point guard at OKC in his younger days in his career. He's done that. He's played point guard, I think, with Detroit a little bit, but he's also played a combination of both because the teams that he's been on, he's been given the green light to score. And even with the Clippers, he's given the green light to score some. So, he's more used to being he's naturally a shooting guard, but he can play the point guard position. So with that being said, if the Clippers acquired a player like Cory Joseph from the Detroit Pistons, it would be a win-win for them. Because first of all, if he can give you 10 and 5 a game, that's all the Clippers need, because they can insert him at times in the game where they need to slow down the offense and allow themselves to get a high efficient shot or a high quality shot. And Cory Joseph, there again, you may not think of him as a big name point guard. He's not even remotely close to a big name point guard. I'll give you that. But at the same time, he's very effective and he's very smart and he is a crafty point guard. And when you look at him play, he plays within his means. He doesn't play outside the box. He does what he does best. He'll drive to the basket, put pressure on the defense, kick out to the wing, kick out to the corner, find open players. And he's very unselfish, of course, because he doesn't score. He's not looking to score that much, but he's very, very good at what he does, and he has a very high IQ for basketball. Mind you, he did play for the San Antonio Spurs for a few years. And when you play in that pop system, you know how to play basketball. You know how to play basketball the right way. You know how to play winning championship mentality type basketball. And mind you, he did win a championship with Kawhi Leonard, actually, in the 2013-2014 finals. I think 2012, 2013 finals when they beat the Miami Heat. Cory Joseph was on that team. He came off the bench, behind Tony Parker, and then at times he played behind, Patty Mills as well. But he did, contribute. He did play that season. He was, there, and he made a pretty decent name for himself in regards to being a good backup point guard. And then he landed, a couple other spots in the NBA where he got some starting positions and, mainly backup point guard, but, he started for the Detroit Pistons, for a while and everything. So, he's had his moments where he's played pretty good. He's had moments where he scored pretty good points. I've seen a couple games where I've seen him score over 20 plus points, have 8 assists in the game, and I've seen him I actually watched one game with the Detroit Pistons where he scored 16 points in a quarter by himself. You see what I'm saying? So he's always been a very underrated, crafty type point guard, but a very good veteran at the least. And he would be very, very good for what the Clippers need because he's a good locker room guy. He's won a championship. He knows what it takes to get there. He's seen it. He's been in it. And he's played in the Greg Popovich system that's worked for so many years and that's worked for so many players that have went there, including the best player for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. And it to me, when you play for Greg Popovich or have played for him with San Antonio Spurs, your basketball IQ goes up, a lot, because you learn the ins and outs of basketball. You learn what situational basketball is. You learn how to be unselfish at times, and you learn that just because the play is called for you, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take the shot. And that's what not what a lot of people understand when it comes to basketball and when it came to the Spurs way. One reason why the Spurs was such a dominant team back then, not only because they had Tim Duncan and Tony and Ginobili and then eventually Kawhi Leonard, but they always understood just because the play is called for me, it doesn't mean I have to take the shot. If the play is called for me and I'm backing down somebody in the post. Tim Duncan used to do this all the time. Everybody know plays used to be ran for him a lot. But if he's backing down the post and he see a double team, if he see it's disguised as a double team, but it's going to be, maybe somebody trying to, stop what he's doing, but also trying to disguise what they're doing on defense to throw his rhythm off. A lot of times Tim Duncan would just go at his defender and, allow the double team to come and might not actually kick it to the defender who's wide open that they thought that he would pass it to, but he would find somebody else cutting to the basket like a Kawhi Leonard or somebody like that for easy 2 points. Now the play was set up for Tim Duncan to actually go at one-on-one with his defender, but because somebody was running off a screen, running off a pick, running to the basket, cutting backdoor to the basket, instead of kicking it out to that 3-point shooter that they think that Tim Duncan might pass it to, he's actually the whole time, once he see the player or the wing player cutting to the basket, that's when he would pass the ball to him and get an easy 2 points. Easy 2-point possession, move on to the next. And this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. When you play for Greg Popovich, you understand basketball from a different viewpoint than other players in the NBA, because the way he's always coached is for his players to learn to be reversible, learn the in and outs of basketball from both sides, and understand what needs to be done to help us win. And this is why I said Corey Joseph been in that type of environment along with Kawhi Leonard. So when you look at that in its entirety, you have to understand that he would bring something to the Clippers that that would be valuable. Championship experience, understanding basketball, a veteran in this league, has, been a starter, has come off the bench. See what I'm saying? And plus, he's a good locker room guy. So this is what I'm saying. He would bring something to the Clippers that they would need. A point guard, championship mentality, basketball IQ, situational basketball, understanding, and the fact that he's played, like I said, as a starter and a reserve point guard. He would be comfortable in either role. He would thrive in either role. And this is what I'm saying. He would be a good pickup for the Clippers, mainly because it wouldn't cost hardly anything to get him. I mean, if the Clippers had to make a trade or something like that, they wouldn't have to give up much to get him. I hope they don't. But I mean, hopefully, I think, he'd be a free agent this upcoming offseason. But either way, you wouldn't have to give up much of anything to get a point guard like this who can give you value on basically both ends of the floor. Because don't get me wrong, he's a little crafty and, on offense, and, he kind of, likes to, get into the paint a little bit. He can knock down a jump shot too. Don't get me wrong there, but he also is feisty on defense. And that's another intangible that I think that would be value to the Clippers, because now you got a point guard who will fight on defense. He fights over screens. He doesn't go under on screens much. He definitely gets up in his opponent. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid of being a little physical. He's not afraid of going at the person who's trying to score on him. These are the type of little things that you need to win championships. If your point guard is like, it has that mentality, you could win a lot of games. You could win a championship. And that's what they thought they were getting out of Rajon Rondo, except a better version. Of course, Rondo is a lot better than Corey Joseph. But what I'm saying is they thought they would get that same type of gameplay out of, Rondo. Hard-nosed defense, knock down a shot here and there, play defense to a high level and make the passes when needed and be unselfish on offense. You see what I'm saying? With his basketball IQ, high basketball IQ. So this is my point. When you have those type of situations, when you have those type of players, it should always it should always be valuable in your approach as a team. If you have those type of players on there, they don't have to score a lot of points. They don't have to, average 15, 25 points a game. That's not what the Clippers need. The Clippers got enough scoring to go around. They don't really need a point guard to come in there and average 18, 19 points a game and, basically, try to shoot first rather than pass first. They need a point guard that's more, on the realm of, I need to pass first and my jump shot comes second. That's really the type of point guard the Clippers need. They don't need a score first point guard. They got enough damn scores. They don't need no more scores than what they have. I mean, you got Luke Kennard coming off the bench. Amir Coffey can score off the bench. Brandon Boston Jr. can score off the bench. The starting lineup, we already know what they can do. They got scoring all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And then, they got other players on the bench that they haven't played yet, as far as young players. And we got to see how they develop too. But anybody under Ty Lue seems to thrive. So that's my point. You don't have to give up much to get a player like Corey Joseph, but he's a good, solid point guard. He knows how to play the game. He has a high IQ for basketball. And as I said in many of my videos, that's the only players Kawhi Leonard really wants to play with, guys with high IQ. And, Kawhi would embrace him with open arms because there again, he comes from that Popovich era. He comes from that Popovich game plan. And anybody that's played under Greg Popovich, it's a go. You definitely don't mind having them on your team. I mean, think about it. Like if the Clippers had Patty Mills, they would be so much of a better team than what they already are. If they had Patty Mills, I promise you, they would have made it out the play-in tournament just with Patty Mills because he is a good, solid backup point guard who doesn't mind passing, but can shoot at a very, very high level. One of the deadly three-point shooters in the league over the last several years. And he knows how to play basketball. He just has a high IQ for basketball. He knows how to play the game. He was another one under the Popovich system. And everywhere he goes, anytime he's on the floor, he seems to make an impact, whether knocking down big threes, getting a couple of steals here and there, causing turnovers, not going under picks and screens, getting up in his, being feisty on defense. You know what I'm saying? That's the Greg Popovich way. Have everybody play better than what they even think their potential is when they learn basketball from a different standpoint, from both sides of the court. And that's the way Greg Popovich has always, molded his players. This is a system. You don't have to always be the hero. You can find the next guy to be the hero, but if the shot is yours, you make sure you take it and you make sure it's a high quality shot. And that's the type of mentality Corey Joseph would bring to the Clippers because he was a part of that Popovich era. And if you look at it, that's the way Kawhi Leonard plays. That's why if you notice Kawhi Leonard always is very, very efficient. You never really see Kawhi Leonard have too many games where he scores 35 plus points or however many he scores and he's 12 for 32 or something like that. You don't never see games like that from Kawhi Leonard hardly. You see more games like that from Paul George than Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard plays more within his means and he loves taking more high quality shots that's going to help his team win rather than just go out there and let it rip. And, that's good at times, but also you want to be in control of your game and control the game itself. This way you can pick your spots, when to go out there and dominate and when to do certain things. That's the reason why Kawhi is such a great player because he plays more efficient. And that efficiency that he plays with comes from that Popovich era, comes from that Popovich way. And this is why I said bring anybody from the Spurs way, Spurs mentality to any team and they're going to bring value. I mean, honestly, like I said, Patty Mills is very valuable for the Nets. They just don't, have the right head coach, I believe. Steve Nash is not the right head coach and, Kyrie don't play half the damn time. So that's the only problem in that situation. But anybody from the Spurs way or the Spurs era that's played with Greg Popovich, it is always a good thing to add them to your team because they're never going to hurt your team. They're always going to help. And this is why I said the Clippers need to actually really look into this one as well. if they can't seem to land like somebody like a Tyus Jones or, a Malcolm Brogdon or somebody like that, they need to look into this one right here, because this one with Corey Joseph wouldn't cost you nothing at all. He's probably going to be a free agent. And like I said, you did have to trade him for somebody, maybe somebody deep far on the bench with a pick or something like that, or whatever the Clippers may have. So be it. Go do that, because it's going to benefit you a lot more going forward in the season, and maybe even into the playoffs, having somebody with playoff experience who's won a championship like that. And I think Corey Joseph would play so much better than he does on the Pistons than he would on the Clippers. I think he would play much better on the Clippers than he would on the Pistons, because he's in a better situation. It's more winning around him, a winning environment. It's a championship caliber team. It's a contender for a championship. So, when you're playing for teams that contend for championships, you just tend to play better. So his 8 points and 4 assists, I think that would turn into somewhere like maybe 10 points and 6 assists a game. And if he can give them that, which we all know that he can, who's ever really, watched Corey Joseph or seen him play before, that would be all the Clippers need to actually get them over the hump and take them to another level. Because having a point guard who can get their offense right at times when it kind of like fades a little bit, because they do a lot of isolation, it would make the Clippers damn near unbeatable, because they would have every area covered. And on top of that, they have guys who understand basketball and who's won championships and who knows what it takes to get there. And it makes it easier to win with players like that, because they see the game from a different angle rather than players who never won a championship. So, I definitely think the Clippers should definitely look into this one here. I definitely would be, really grateful if they did pick up a point guard like that, because it says a lot about what they're trying to do, going forward. And they're trying to fill all the little pieces and gaps and every little area just to make sure they're secure in their spot to be the best team they could be going into the next season, trying to win a championship. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. As always, check out my other videos. And hey, Khaliis out.